let me offer a quick word of prayer before we get started. Everybody's take a deep breath. I know we're all coming in from different places and a rush day. Oh God, we come from all places of the country, telecommuting today, to come together to plan for an experience, God, that we hope brings people together, and more importantly, challenges people to take their next faithful step in ministry. God, be with us in this time as we plan to pull off an event that will be meaningful to people. Be with us in this time. It's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen. So welcome to the coaching for the Essential Elements Experience, known as the Triple E. For those of you that have just kind of been on the fringes of being asked to help, but you probably weren't necessarily sure what you're asking help for, is we are, for our experience this year on Friday afternoon, we're looking to help our conference understand the Grow, Equip, and Connect 3 focus of the annual conference. So Grow, transformational, spiritual transformational leadership, equipping vital congregations in new places for new people, and connecting to each other and to the world are those 3 areas of focus. So as a coach for this experience, first of all, each of the 3 areas have their specific color. So for Grow, the color is green. For Equip, the color is red. And for Blue, the color is, and for Connect, the color is blue. So Kevin is the director for spiritual transformational leaders. So if you were invited by Kevin, then you know that you are going to be on the intentional transformational leadership path, and you're going to need a green t-shirt. If you were invited by Cindy from the equipping office, then you know that you're on the equip team. You're going to be wearing red. And if you were invited by Jason Mackey or Amy Wynn, then you'll be on the Connect team and you'll be wearing blue. So sometime on Thursday, the first thing you want to do is drop by the booth of the Grow, Equip, or Connect that you are working with and pick up your t-shirt, okay? And you're going to wear your t-shirt on Friday afternoon, not on Thursday. If you have a chance to change at lunch, that'd be great.
You're going to have to walk up and meet Hope, though, because poop fast.
Can someone mute themselves that's talking? Thank you. So pick up your t-shirts on Thursday at the Grow, Equip, or Connect booth, depending on which area you were invited by, and then wear that t-shirt after lunch on Friday. Okay. For those of you who have been asked, there's about 15 of you that have been asked to do some sort of a statement, 1 sentence as part of the experience on Friday afternoon on stage. You will be having practice Thursday at 9 p.m. I know that's late, but that's when the programming is over that we can have. So 9 p.m. on Thursday is when we'll do our final rehearsal. The Essential Elements experience will begin at approximately 1:50 on Friday afternoon. 1:50 on Friday afternoon. At 1 o'clock on Friday, which is at the end of your lunchtime, we will huddle up by the stage in the plenary space to get just those final directions for you and everyone feel comfortable. When everyone comes into the room for that plenary time on Friday afternoon, they're going to be given a postcard. The postcard looks like this, and it has the Grow, Equip, and Connect, and it has all the sub areas within each one. So each person, this is the logo. It'll just be one color on your t-shirt. It's the Essential Elements logo that we'll be using for this experience. Most of you should have received already an email as an attendee of annual conference saying, hey, you need to be getting pastor and layperson together. The lay member and pastor should be talking about their next faithful step, talking about, are we going to go into grow, equip, or connect areas, and then which subtopic. So there's a couple of emails that are going out to help people prepare. And then this is also their reminder. Before they go to lunch on Friday, they'll be reminded, when you come back into the room on Friday after lunch, you need to be sitting with your lay member. Pastor and lay member to annual conference need to be sitting together, because they're going to be getting this postcard and they're going to be traveling to another room together based on their next faithful step. Someone asked when the email went out. It was earlier this week, in the last couple of days. So the postcard will be on their seats. We'll start. There's going to be different lights for the different areas. Kevin, Jason, and I will be working through the experience itself. Towards the end of the experience, as we are inviting them into conversation, we will be asking them to begin to have those final conversations about what is their next faithful step. Is it grow, equip, connect? And then which of the particular areas underneath will they want to go to? As we're getting to the end of that experience, we will want all coaches to come up on stage in your t-shirts, okay? If you're one of the 15 people, you're going to be there Thursday night, so you're going to know where you need to be to walk past the microphone and say your line. Everyone else is just going to come up on stage and stand with the director that has the same color t-shirt as you. Okay, so there'll be an area with green, an area with red, and an area with blue. So if you're not one of the ones speaking, you just come up and look pretty or handsome, and you're going to kind of help sing the song that's going to be on stage. And then at the end of that song, and they will, you'll get direction from us to say, the coaches are going to start moving towards the rooms where you're going to go, okay? And when people start moving out of the rooms, whether they're going to the grow room, the equip room, or the connect room, we're going to tell them where those are. But of course, they're not going to listen to where we're telling them to go. So the cabinet will have directional signs that say grow, equip, connect in all of these directions. And then there'll be auxiliary signs to help people get to the rooms. Okay. We want you as coaches to get to those rooms first. Okay. So that as you come in the door to the room that you're going to be working in, you're going to pick up your packets. Now, as you do, each of you know which area you're going to be working in, right? If not, you can ask us afterwards. But those rooms, if you're working in the grow area, okay, which is the green area, Kevin's area, you're going to be in the Empire Suites on the confection hall level. The equip is going to go to the red room, which is right next door. So all we have to do is get people around the corner. And then the connect is going to go across the lobby to the chocolate ballroom on the other side of registration. Okay? So you're going to get there first. And then you're going to go inside the door, and just inside the door, there's going to be packets. It's going to be a brown envelope. And in that envelope, you're going to find assessments, pins, and a little giveaway. All right. Now, one of the things that I wanted to show you, and you'll be getting, if I'm showing you the equip piece. Okay. Y'all seeing a little spreadsheet there? Okay. So for intentional, for the grow piece, you have 3 options to go into: intentional discipleship pathways, intentional leadership development, or intentional faith immersions, camps, and retreats. Okay. For the equip, the subcategories are M3, small church, simplified accountable structure, and new places for new people. For connect, the 3 areas of concentration are communications, missions, and worship. Okay. So for example, those that are working on the equip team, you'll see that I have those 4 areas of concentration. We will have 4 different corners of the room where we will break up into these small subsets. So for instance, new places for new people, the first coach up is Hannah Sledge. So Hannah is going to walk in the room and she's going to find the big old sign that says new places for new people. Okay, she's going to walk to one of the corners with that sign, and then she's going to fill up that table of 10 people. Can somebody we're getting some feedback? Okay, thank you. Then we know that number 2 is going to be Jen Williams, and then Daniel Wilt, and then Ryan and Stephanie and Chris. Okay, so all of you are going to be lined up in one corner of the room because you're going to be handling all the people that come in for new places for new people. So friends, we're moving about 12 to 1,500 people pretty quickly into 3 big rooms. And then once they get into the big room, then we're going to subdivide them into the topic that they want to take the next step in. Okay. And the table should have 10 chairs at them. So in your packet, you're going to have the assessments in for those churches. You will have 5 churches at your table, the pastor and the lay person from your church, from each of 5 churches, to make up the 10 chairs. You as coach will stand. Okay. That makes sense? So Hannah, when you hold up your sign, new places for new people, you have 10 people at your table. Then Jen's going to be standing right there. She's going to move to the next table over, new places for new people. She's going to fill up 10 people. And then once Jen's table is full, she's going to hand it to Daniel. And Daniel, you're going to fill up your group of 10, and then so on. Okay. In another corner of the room, George is going to have the small church checkup sign. And so any of the churches that want to do the small church checkup, George is going to hold the sign first. And when he has 5 churches, 2 each from each church, when they're full, then Win Green is going to be the next one, and he's going to be the second table. His fills it up, and so on. He's going to pass it on to Karen. All right, does that make sense? We're trying to move a lot of people, so we're trying to be as organized as possible when you get there. Questions?
What happens if all the tables get full, but there's still more people wanting to talk to our area?
So, Anna, great question. We're going to have someone that's floating, that if all the coaches are full, their tables, they're going to be helping seat people, and then they would wait. So for instance, once Hannah is done with her table, then she'll go to the 7th table, right? Because there's 6 coaches. She'll then repeat and go to the 7th table. As you can imagine, in a perfect world, they would divide a third, and a third in the 3 areas, and then they would divide evenly by a third or a fourth, depending on if you have 3 or 4 topics. We just know that's not going to happen, so we're just going to have to be flexible in receiving them and figuring it out the best we can, so as orderly as we can. Okay?
Okay.
Yes.
If a church has more than one layperson attending, where will the second person go, along with the pastor?
It would. They could tag along with with that team. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Okay, so you have your packet, and you are ready to get started. this is going to be, are you now seeing a next faithful steps on your screen? No. Okay, let me try again. Now can you see it? Okay, great.
Yes.
So this is the assessment. Again, if you're working in the area of Grow, you will have a green piece of paper. If you're in Equip, you'll have a red piece of paper or pinkish red. And then in Connect, you'll have a blue piece of paper, okay? Make sure at the very beginning that you know that they have said at the small church table or simplified, you know that because you're coaching that. But remember, these forms are going to be handed back in and to establish their coaching group. So make sure that they check which of the subgroups that they want to work in. So for instance, if you're working at Equip and you're working at the M3, make sure, okay, you'll see there at the top, make sure that you check that M3 box. You're instructing as the coach for them to do that. Okay. Now, as soon as they sit down, you can hand out the assessment. Remember, one assessment per church, not person, one assessment per church. Okay. They can start filling out that top part just as soon as they get it because it's just the basic contact information. Okay. Of who's there. We're looking for the clergy contact information as well as the lay contact information. Okay. Then as everybody's kind of sat down and we've got that first top part filled out, then just thank them for coming and making this next faithful step in their ministry development. Hand out the assessment form. Okay. And then ask them to complete the top section. And then, again, make sure that they have selected which area of focus. And then this is where the purpose of the conversation from here is so that when the coaching groups are put together, we have churches that are kind of in the same places in a coaching group. So for instance, if we're doing simplified accountable structure, maybe a church has been doing it for a while, but they have new people or they need a refresher. Or we have a church that's exploring simplified accountable structure. We want people exploring in one group and we want those that are seasoned but need refreshers in another. Okay, so that's what the assessment questions are, is to help us refine the coaching groups. Okay, so you'll see here that there are just 4 questions. So what you're doing is you're having the 5 churches together kind of walk through this question. So thank you for filling the top of the form. Now, our first question here we're going to process as a team is, how did you determine that this was the next faithful step for your church? Okay, what made us decide? What we're looking for is the why. What was the motivation? We're not looking for them to tell a story. We're just looking for a sentence or 2 of how they arrived at this particular topic. Okay, bump them along because we only have 30 minutes to get them in the room, get them to the right table, get the assessment, and get them out and back to the other room. Okay, so bump them along. The second question, what is your hopeful outcome? So what are they looking towards in order to make this feel like a success for them? Again, it's going to help us determine which coaching group they need to go in. And what is the place currently around this topic? So what you're saying is, let's go back to the simplified structure. We're exploring. Okay, it's in our first year and we're struggling with implementing. Or we've been in it a couple of years, but we've got some new people that need training. That's what we're looking for, is where are they at in this pathway for this particular subject? And then the fourth question is beginning to ask them to think about what is next. As you leave here, you've taken this next faithful step. You're going to be in a coaching group. What does that mean to your local congregation? Who else needs to be engaged? What's the communication? What's conversation? Who are those people? And to begin to name them. So you're already helping them to think about a next step before they're leaving. All right. Once those forms are completed, then you're going to thank them for participating. You're going to collect this form back from them, okay? Let them know that they'll hear from the appropriate area, grow, equip, or connect, depending on which area you're working in, about their coaching group, about their next step, okay? And then at that point, you hand out what we're calling the party gift or the parting gift, however you want to say it. In there is a reusable straw, okay, a seed packet, and a book of matches. So something from every one of the 3 areas. It'll be in a little blue bag, and you'll have 10 of those in your packet to give to every one of them. They hand you the assessment, you hand them the party gift, and then dismiss your table. Then you need to look and see, is there another table within your area, or we ask you to be flexible. You may have to coach another area if we're out of balance by who we recruited for which one. Look and see if there's another table that hasn't been coached through their assessment, and then move to that table. So that's why when you walk in the room, you may want to grab more than one packet so you can quickly move to the next table instead of having to go back to the door and get another packet. Okay?
Question.
Yeah.
Are the questions the same for all 3 areas?
Yes, they are.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Only the color of paper, and then the only difference is at the top of the form, where this says equipping vital congregations. If you're working in the other areas, it will have the other focus instead of this one. That's the only thing that's different. Everything else is exactly the same.
Okay, if we all pick up a second packet, will there be enough?
Yes. There'll be 40. Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes. I had to think about that, but yes. Okay. All right. So, I mean, I know it sounds complicated, and we're just trying to think through all the details again, just to try to move all of these people. But remember, the main thing is we're asking, by them walking into the room and filling out this assessment, they're thinking through and they're making a commitment to a next step. The assessment is to help us figure out the best group to put them in with people with other churches that are like-minded, okay? So again, you don't have to spend a whole lot of time going through it. If you get that bare minimum requirement done, that's all that we're asking. Remember to put the forms back in the packets, drop them off in the box that you picked them up out of on your way out of the room. Okay? Simple? What other questions do you have?
Yeah, what about the churches that are not represented at conference, at annual conference?
Then they won't be in the room.
And they won't get the information?
Correct.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, are you still going?
Yes.
I missed the beginning because I was stuck in traffic, but those 4 areas, so it'll be divided by the 3 main sections and those 4 areas within it.
So there are 3 main areas: grow, equip, and connect.
Mm-hmm.
Under grow, there are 3 areas: intentional discipleship pathways, intentional leadership development, and intentional faith immersion. Under equip, there's the 4 areas. I just happen to use that form.
Okay.
And then under communication, or under connection, there is communications, missions, and worship.
Okay, so should we reach out to whoever reached out to us about doing this to get like the main synopsis of each of those smaller ministry areas?
Yes, you can do that, of what the focus is, but I am thinking, though, Julia, that each of those focus areas will be helped by the coaching situation and where they're at. So
Okay.
based on we're going to concentrate in worship. So what would be helpful, the reason we ask for average worship attendance, so can you imagine what we would coach around worship for a small church and a mid-sized church and a large church would be different.
Yeah.
Right? And so that was another reason that we asked for church size, because then we can put some like church sizes together as well. In the postcard that they pick up, there is a really short emphasis on giving them a description of those areas
Okay.
as well. Okay.
Okay, I have a question,
Yeah.
and it kind of relates with size. What would the size be for small church checkup, and then what would the size be for M3 if
Okay.
people ask?
Small church checkup is usually 80 or less. It could even go up to 100 or less. M3, both of them are assessment processes. So M3 could pick up really if they're wanting to move through an assessment kind of process, then M3 could pick up at that 100 and up.
Okay.
But that's not to say, Josh, that you could do M3 as a small church.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, a lot of the coaches are pastors. Are our lay delegates supposed to be in our group?
Is that the next faithful step? So have that for those of you that have someone coming with you. If you're a pastor or lay delegate, then your counterpart have the conversation ahead of time. Determine what is your next faithful step. Send your counterpart to that appropriate table. Did that answer the question? I'm not sure who answered that or who
Yes,
asked.
thank
Okay.
you.
Okay, you're welcome.
So it won't matter for us, but because we have to go to our topic area, but what about other pastors that are in transition? Should they go with their current church or with the new one?
I would say have that conversation with the current pastor and you all make that decision, because I've heard it go both ways. Some are choosing to go with the new, but that would have to be in cooperation with the pastor who's leading.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Are we good?
Okay, one question I had is, we have practice for ordination at the same exact time, and I'm set to say a few words. So I wanted to see how that would work.
Ordination practice is Friday night, not Thursday night.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah. So you're good.
Good. I'll be at both.
Okay, would you just talk a little bit, so churches that have that are part of a charge that will have one lay member for a charge, are they doing this as individual churches, or are they doing this as the charge with the pastor?
That's part of why we're sending the email out, for them to begin to think about those kinds of things.
Okay.
And so if that's the case, then if they are a 3-point charge and each of the churches on the charge is a different one, then they're going to send to 3 different places by church, and then the pastor's is going to have to choose which of the 3 they go to.
So I feel really confused. When is this actually taking place?
It's Friday afternoon, and the experience starts at 1:50 p.m., and this then is at the end of that experience.
And then so they're choosing an area with their next faithful step, what happens after they choose their area?
First, they choose the main category of grow, equip, or connect.
Right.
Then they choose the sub area.
Right.
They go into the room, they do the assessment, they turn the assessment back in, and they'll be put in coaching groups based on that topic to help that group move along faithfully in their particular area of need.
And then when does the coaching take place?
That will be set up by the coach themselves. Some of you have agreed to be that coach for those groups. So that coach then will get with their group once we have made the assignments based on the assessments. That coach will get with that group and lead that group based on the needs of that group and the times they're available.
And okay, so the coaching isn't going to take place that day.
No,
Okay. All right. I was under the impression that it was happening at conference.
no. We're setting up through the assessment. We're beginning the steps to set up the coaching groups.
Okay, great.
How are we doing the coaching? Are we doing it by Zoom or are we doing it physically in person?
My guess is, Michelle, that most often we'll end up doing it virtually by phone, by Skype, by Zoom. But it will depend on the coaching group. If you end up being all close together and you decide you want to do it in person, then so be it. Each coaching group is going to have their own flavor based on the makeup of that group. So there'll be flexibility depending on what they want to do.
Okay.
So is everyone on this call considered a coach, or is that like a subgroup and this is just for the like filling out the assessments?
At this point, you all have committed to doing the assessments.
Okay.
And I know Kevin and Jason and I recruited a little bit differently. Some of us asked for both up front, and some just said, I need you to do this piece.
Okay.
And then there may be a separate ask later. But we certainly need more at this assessment piece than we probably will, because we know not everyone, we know that we'd love to think that everyone that's in attendance will do this. Not everyone's going to come to the breakout rooms. We know that. And then we also know there'll be fallout of they just won't join the group. They'll be invited into the coaching group and then they won't.
Yeah. Okay, I just wanted to clarify that because I wasn't sure if I was a coach or just if I could just do this.
Right. And that would be dependent on what area and how you were asked.
Okay.
I guess that was my confusion because I was asked to be a coach, but was never told about the assessment.
Okay.
So I was told this was coaching training. So when you're talking about the assessment, I was like, wow, I'm really not clear about what's going on here, but I'm clear now. That's cool.
Okay, good.
What's the new backpack for? It says in the email this week to bring a new backpack for leadership experience.
So that's on Thursday. And so the leadership report that comes from the cabinet, we're actually assembling backpacks for back to school during the leadership report. So you're filling that backpack with school supplies. So
I was confusing that with this.
yeah, no, separate pieces. Other questions? Okay, reminders. Pick up your t-shirt on Thursday at the appropriate booth. Meet on Friday at 1 o'clock to do the huddle, last minute directions, and reminders. All right. Come on stage. At the end of the experience, you'll see everybody filing up. Stand by the director with the same colors t-shirt as you. When you're instructed, go off the stage, go directly to the rooms, and get the signs and get in the order that the director you're working with is giving you, and be prepared. But don't forget to pick up those packets on the way in, and then make sure that you turn those assessments in on the way out the door, and we'll pick those boxes up after you've completed them. Okay?
Where are we meeting at 1 o'clock on Friday?
By the stage.
By the stage, okay.
Yeah, in the plenary space up by the stage at 1 o'clock on Friday.
Thanks.
Okay? All right.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Hi, Kathy.
Thursday at 9 p.m. That's practice for everyone?
That is practice for only those of you that are giving a one sentence. You would know it if you've been asked to give one sentence. But if you only have to come on stage to look pretty, Kathy, you don't have to go to the practice at 9 o'clock or 9. That will last till probably 10 o'clock or later. So that's why you'll just have to come to the huddle on Thursday unless you have a speaking part during the experience. Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, one last call for questions.
Hello?
Yes.
Yeah, I wanted to know if those who have been selected to be on the speaking side, have they been already informed?
Yes,
Okay.
quite some time ago.
Okay.
So it sounds like no worries for you, Paul.
Okay. It's better to so just listen. It's better to listen on.
That's right. That's right. Okay. Yeah. Thank you so much for doing this. This is a new experience. This is, creating an action plan as a result of going to annual conference, as opposed to it just being a business meeting. So thank you for allowing us to experience, and thank you for participating in the experience as well. So we will see you all at annual conference.